Hey Adam, how are
Hi,
you?
hi, Rado. I'm great. How are you?
Let's jump into the presentation then.
Let's go.
All right, I will be the first one.
Yeah, so a
So,
big topic today when it comes to risk management and insurance. So, on point and intro.
is there insurance from AI world takeover? I'm
We've
not
all
sure.
seen the movies how it ends. So, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So we all just a brief introduction to the viewers that are watching this for the first time. We are Crawly.com. And basically, we transform static pages into interactive elements. And we have a series of videos like this one, where we take specific industry, like this time it's insurance industry, and we take two different brands and we try to come up with ideas for specific clusters of keywords and traffic and users with specific intent. We try to elevate their content to the next level and propose a couple of interactive elements. Adam, maybe you could jump in and express
Yeah.
a bit more.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, the people, I like to sum it up that people are not searching anymore online, they are asking. And with the dawn of AI and how it helps us make decisions, filter content, and learn things about the offerings and other topics. Let's say the old school methods of being discovered, so like SEO, good research on intent, Google Trends, keywords research, there's nothing wrong with it. It still works, but a content, as we see on the left, for example, here, those long blog posts are mostly attractive still for search engines. We see in the data that the bounce rates are going up. So when people see, let's say, 1,000 words blog post, they get maybe intimidated, scared. Nobody has time. I want answers immediately. So by what we do is that by analyzing all of your traffic, analyzing the content you have, doing all the even forward-looking analysis on the future of your industry, we design, implement, and optimize for our clients the whole constellation of interactive elements like the one you see on the right, where it's embedded in your content, tried and tested content, but it becomes a much more engaging experience for the user and much more personalized. So you can imagine AI assistants that you can talk to. You can imagine what we see on the screen, the content analyzer, product configurator. Okay, this is my situation. What's for me? And we see the results are great for many businesses. So the time on site goes up to 8 times, the conversion rates double, and what's most important, the increase in sales go 20 to 40% up, depending on the industry and the business. But yeah, people want to interact with content, want to learn more, want to see what we create is this goodwill exchange that you helped me, so now I've got more trust for you. Actually, if you visit wearecrawly.com, at the very bottom of the page, there are some even academic research to back it up. But I think we've got an example on the next slide as well.
I would just add that the difference between probabilistic
Mhm.
way how Gemini and ChatGPT work versus these interactive elements is that this is something that you can verify, and
Yes.
it's all deterministic. It's based on your content, and you can validate that, and users can trust it more. So you can kind of catch up with Gemini and ChatGPT experience to get and to give users more personalized answers while they stay on your domain, where you have a lot of traffic, and this is a good example.
Yeah. What we see on the screen is, as I mentioned, basically a bit of context. This is what we see on the screen is a business which is in supplements, herbal remedies, US-based business with over 50 years of experience on that market. So they know their stuff and they are doing everything right. What we see on the left, it's I think over 1,000 words article about preparation for labor and like which herbal remedies, what and what not to use to make this very important and special time in someone's life as comfortable as possible. And we see there's a lot of demand for this content. There's a lot of organic traffic coming to it. But over time, there is more and more bounce rate that goes up because maybe people get, as mentioned, intimidated by this content, or they don't have time. They don't know if they should invest time in reading. And what we see on the right is a simple configurator where At first, we ask the visitor to share a bit more about their situation. So in this case, which trimester they are in, or maybe they are just recovering from giving birth, what constraints, what they have, for example, maybe not constraints, but what symptoms they want support with. So that can be insomnia, that can be tiredness, digestive issues, you name it. And basically, we process this input through the whole database and knowledge, 50 years of knowledge, which is on this website, and the tried and tested product catalog, which is, includes products which are safe for pregnancy, and this brand is, taking responsibility for it. So as a result, we have a personalized knowledge base for that user. Okay, those are recommended products for your situation, and each of them is justified by a specific parts of content on the website. So it's tried and it's tested. So we keep this brand equity of this business, 50 years of experience. There's no risk of hallucinations. So it's much safer for the visitor, as well as much more beneficial for the business. Because as I mentioned, through this goodwill exchange, the conversion rate goes up, and the sales also can go up. So this is what
I will do two things. One is that the result of the personalized the experience is basically a predefined basket that
Yes.
they can add to e-commerce store, and they can just go back to e-commerce store and they have predefined set of teas and herbal remedies added to the cart. And the other thing is that we have like two options. One is embedded, and the experience can be inside of the text. Like this, instead of this image, we could imagine the app with a user clicking out, being able to click and choose specific options to provide context for the system to give answers. And second is that they can open up a full page and basically experience that full page experience. So a user has two paths. One is to read and fill out content, or they can even like move and open up the full page experience. It depends like on the situation. Like we can design it differently for each time. But the result is that 50,000, let's say, users landing on this page every month, they can have a superior experience to just reading. And of course, the brand can benefit higher conversion rates as a result.
So I like to add that we maximize the traffic you are already getting. Like this content, let's say you mentioned like you have 50,000 people every month, over 60% they bounce without taking any significant action. But by giving them, okay, let's share more about you and we will give you relevant content, that engagement rate goes up. And that's also important for all the other parts. So then more search engines promote websites that engage. The paid advertising promotes websites that convert. So it impacts every aspect of your digital presence.
Yes. Okay, well, let's jump into the first brand that we've analyzed. So it's the well-known brand in Europe. It's called Allianz. And I picked Polish domain because this is the language I understand instantly. And our system is designed to cover all of the languages. It doesn't matter what kind of keywords we analyze, what kind of intent we analyze, what kind of language. But I just picked this one because it's the closest to me. And yeah, so these are the top landing pages. This time I took a different perspective. I usually start from keywords, and this time I started from the content. And this time I didn't analyze the whole content of the domain because it's quite big. I just analyzed their content inside of the blog post, only the blog posts and educational, informative content. And in here we have very different keywords. So they basically they published content on different topics, on traveling, on investing, on retirement, on health, about home and home related things, because they have quite extensive offering and they want to capture visibility from users from interested in very different things. And so the keywords are very different. Like there are elements related to tax optimization, retirement systems, and so on, and even like inheritance here. So as you can see, the traffic is quite big, especially for the first keyword. We are talking about 20,000 users every month. And this is just Polish market, which is a very small market in terms of like European perspective, and in terms of like global scale, it's still It is small. But 20,000 users landing on a page every month. Here 3,000, 3,000, 1,500, and we are talking about specific landing pages. And if we sum up these landing pages into clusters, we land with clusters of plus 5,000, 10,000 users every month. So this is how the experience looks like. They land on a page and they have awesome big title and basically content to read. Every blog post, every blog system that we know looks more or less like that. And this is the system. We use our internal system to identify clusters. So as you can see, it's in English. There is a PPK withdrawal eligibility verifier. This is something related to retirement system that only in Poland it exists, but in every country you have a different system. So basically there are a lot of questions. How can I use it? How can I withdraw money from that system? Another one is basically how can I lease my home system and checklist. Then there is a holidays related things, but they have insurance for homes, they have retirement systems, they have traveling related insurances. So they want to have these users landing on the domain, and they want to upsell something to these users, give them value. But these users land on the page with specific problem. The problem is, how much does it cost to get a passport, or how long does it take? How can I what's the process, and so on. So as you can see, the user is totally in a different place. They want to issue a passport for the journey. We as Allianz in this case, we want to give them answer in the content, and also is in a personalized interactive element, but we also want to direct their attention to our products. And I think that this is a pretty good example because passports, so this is the beginning of their, I bought a ticket, I need passport. Okay, so what's the next step? Actually, I need insurance for that trip, because usually when you need a passport, you go somewhere far and be outside of Europe, and it's just good to have insurance. Okay, so let me show you a couple of very simple interactive elements. I didn't go the direction that usually we go, and we built a bit more complex ones. We can imagine this one embedded in the content of the page. You just scroll down, you read an article, and then you have an interactive element. Something like, you can imagine it's a banner in the content. So how to withdraw money from PPK. 1, 2, 3, bam, and you have a process. And that's it. Very simple. A couple of answers really quickly. And of course, in the last stage, we could ask them to leave their email or redirect them to specific action they can take, or talk with some specific advisor. And this one is just designed to basically, it's not yet tied to any product that Allianz offers. Another one, calculator of the retirement systems, and which system do you want to have, what's your how much you make, how much you want to save in specific systems, and so on. And just the visualization system to calculate a couple of things. So this one was pretty simple. This is another one, very similar, to show some kind of compounding effects of saving money with specific money that you make, how old you are. Pretty nice looking charts. We can imagine that, so that user can provide way more answers before the chart visualizes, or maybe a lot of questions on the left, and then things that you can chart that changes. And then of course upsell to talk with our consultant, or register for that product, In this case, it's perfect combination of what you're trying to build, and we have all the products you need. The next one is the temporary lease verification. So who are you? Are you going to rent a property? Are you going to lease it? Yeah, I think so. I think this is the right word in English. But so you choose specific features of the agreement that you want to sign, and people need just agreement verification system or a generator, and they want to verify specific things, and they just tick off things that they want to verify, and then some kind of AI assistant could validate their situation or maybe they want to validate their agreement, and so that you could drag and drop your agreement here, and you can get more or less a score of how we think about it, how the system thinks about this specific agreement, or we can give users templates to download, specific agreements. So, and of course, then build and add specific upsells or specific, let's say, it's good if you rent out your apartment, it's good to insure it, especially the best insurance in case of a situation that you rent it to others is this product or that product. And this then again, it's personalized experience because you don't have to look through the whole website looking for specific insurance product for your specific case, because now it's personalized. And the last one is how to sell a car. There was a lot of keywords related to that. Are you a physical person? Are you a company? Is it registered in Poland or abroad? And so on. And then you get what you have to do before to register the car one by one, and that you have to conduct all these actions to actually sell successfully a car or buy a car. And that's it. These are pretty simple ones. Of course, these are not yet validated. These are just prototypes, just for the sake of this video, just to visualize the system.
Yes, but as I share my screen, I think it's very important to mention that what we saw with those mini experiences that you shared with us is that there was an option for them to be embedded. So at the bottom right corner, we already have a functionality that you can, if you like it, you choose where to put it, and it just works. So this is our very important next step. And I think, as you mentioned, those interactive elements, replacing some banners or replacing, even breaking up along pieces of content, that's something that already makes the website much more engaging. Yeah, so the one I chose, well, it's the Polish brand of insurance, something similar to Allianz. And I took an approach of looking at the segment of the insurance market, which is famous for being, first of all, underinsured and still a bit confusing to everyone, which is corporate insurance. So you can imagine businesses that have, the key business, let's say production. They also have some goods, have employees, now more and more important digital risks. So all of that puts businesses into exposure. So I took this angle, which might be a bit less, let's say, popular compared to our usual, car insurance, home insurance, or life insurance. So looking at the traffic, I also had a look only on the English, on the Polish market, but the app I'll show you is in English. It's all over the place. Usually the search intent is that, for example, what's the liability of the employer in case the employee makes a mistake? Or or there is if a logistics company, how much coverage do I need if I store goods on behalf of someone else? So very specific, very long tail focused keywords. But when we look into going through our bespoke system, and we've got the whole algorithm of assessing businesses, as we see from video in every video we record. One of the parts of it is looking back of what actually who is the persona and what questions they have. So why are people typing this into search engine? Mostly, it comes from I need to learn more about insurance in a specific situation in the context of my business. Believe it or not, most of those keywords take you to the page like this, which is nothing wrong with it. Those are huge, and that's just a part of Warta's website compared on corporations. And yeah, the first one, the huge, pretty much infinite scroll portal it is a blog post with multiple topics, which is divided into categories like what we see on the right. So in this case is risk assessment and damage claim. Each of those is about, up to 1,000 words article explaining different aspects for a business. Quite a lot of content to organize. Throughout this process we are going through, I just present it in a slightly different form. We came up with over 30 interactive elements that address a certain need and a certain question from the perspective of the corporate insurance. On the screen, we've got four examples that I thought are very interesting. So for example, in Europe, and Warta is aiming they've got more and more content to get into the logistics, so any warehousing, transportation network. So something, interactive tool that allows the visitor to assess their exposure risk based on their operations, on what cargo they transfer, where do they store it, who does it, is it their own drivers, do they hire someone? Gets complex pretty quickly, but in the end of the day, you just get a number like this is your risk exposure. Another one which I think is super interesting and also quite straightforward to create for us now is the industry benchmark tool. So the risk is always assessed in relation to market trend or to your competition. So a lot of risk managers and compliance managers, they wake up every morning, is like, how do we stack up against the competition? The one I will show you in a second is something that pulls it together and answers the biggest question, in my opinion, which is like, okay, what do I need? This is my business. What do I need? And how much exposure and how much do I need to pay? And the fourth one is the latest trends, especially in Europe, ESG, so environmental, social, and governance risks, which are now being transferred into financial products and processes that companies need to follow and adhere to. And that creates another pool of risk that if, for example, you don't have relevant policies in your business, you might be fined. So of course, if there is a risk of something, there's an insurance for it. So assessing how much the business is exposed in this content is also important. So to go into the demo, I made an app which is a bit more complex. This solution is an interactive tool which not only helps you think about different areas of your business and assess different sides of exposure, because of course, a construction company has different kind of risks compared to a data processor, but we try to quantify them and insure against them. So basically, there is a lot of micro copy, but it's also aimed to teach and guide the visitor on what they need to do. So in here, we will focus on product risk. So what you produce and sell, employer risk of if you employ people, and cyber risk around the data. All of it is for lead generation, and all of it is divided into steps. So as you can think, the depth of data we gather also can feed into other marketing activities. So for example, as mentioned, each step has those micro copy. Let's say we are a manufacturing business, let's say SME, so 150 people. And let's say we do 50 million in revenue, and we do it domestically and with the adjacent market. It already starts to learn more about your business. First of all, if we prepare any product, so if not, it's not relevant. If we do, we need to input what the product is. And the app also constantly guides us that, for example, product type affects the risk. So toys are different than, let's say, flammable or heavy machinery. Let's go for heavy machinery, technical equipment. Annual sales volume, you don't sell that much of it, but we sell it internationally. And for example, every now and then, if there is a complaint. So if we go to the next step, something to see is that for each area, it already assesses the risk for that area and estimates your business exposure. So if something goes wrong, this is how much out of the pocket you might be. But if you get a coverage for that amount, you reduce this risk. So what we do is usually you would have a process like this to go through with an advisor. But before you speak to them, you might do a bit of homework and get more prepared. So work environment, let's say for our employees, they build those machines. Well, unfortunately, we've got some incidents every now and then, and we have an annual training and refresher, and it is a, high risk work environment. Again, we can calculate the risk of it and move to other area. Of course, we run, let's say, a CMS with 100,000 records in it. Business would have a major outage if it goes down. We have multi-factor authentication, and we have weekly data backups. I'm trying to think about a scenario which is, and we do occasional cyber training. Let's be realistic about it. And then we've got, as a result, we've got a risk exposure report, which made sure that you think about every area of your business, which made sure assessed how much exposed you are to on different levels, how much money you are risking with the major accident, give you priorities how to mitigate it. So what's the next process? So instead of reading a couple of those long articles and still being confused, you literally have this is a lead generation flow now. Speak to us, prepare this, prepare that. We are most likely to give you different coverage for a different area of the business. Of course, you can schedule this call here. And what works extremely well, especially in B2B context, is that when the visitor of the website is not necessarily the only decision maker, we already prepared, assessment email you can share with the board, or you can share with the chief compliance officer or someone like this. So this is a tool that basically can be embedded into all of the content that Warta has on their website. But at the same time, it organizes them and puts it in context of the visitor. So this is my business. Okay, this is how serious it is. Yeah, like, something like this can be, as mentioned, the starting point can be embedded within the article, or it can be a standalone page, which is linked from pretty much every other relevant page that generates traffic to it. So yeah, like the upside can be very significant, especially for insurance where the customer lifetime value is key. And we want to make sure that they get the best service with us.
From the perspective of traffic, I can imagine that we're not talking about tens of thousands of users landing on content like that, but for sure, very precise identification on pages that have maybe 10, 20, 50 visitors a month. Maybe they use ChatGPT or Gemini to educate themselves, but ChatGPT and Gemini, these platforms go and they research pages and content, and then they refer back to the user what can you do next, and it feeds on the content that already is out there, and the app could be mentioned as a result in ChatGPT or Gemini as well, and that can like elevate the visibility. And I can imagine clusters of keywords and landing pages to be that will not have a significant amount of traffic, but the impact from as you said, the lifetime value of maybe 1 or 2 or 5 customers like that a month is already immense and worth investing and building an interactive element like this one. So yeah,
and yeah, like
I
this
really
is
love
why
this.
we do it. This is why we do it as a service. So if you go to wearecrawly.com and you can learn more about us. But one of the keys I want to always reiterate is that we are not building apps, we are maximizing marketing. So even if we were to create and embed and optimize element that converts one significant account a quarter, let's say, we take care of it. So because we are, a service company, we are marketers at heart, technologists at heart. No matter how many of those we make, our goal, it doesn't impact even your fees. Like our goal and our ethos is to generate the most leads and the best quality leads for your business, no matter how many elements like this we need to design and come up with. Because to be fully transparent, we've got a process for it, and we keep optimizing it, and we always our clients always get the latest tested and the most effective way to generate leads. So for now it's this, and the results are great. We'll see what it looks like in 6-12 months.
What are if you could spend 2 minutes talking about the typical questions that clients have? One that comes to my head, like, what if it doesn't work, Adam?
Yes, because one of the things that, well, to be honest, we don't get the question, what if it doesn't work? But for example, people usually understand that this is the future and the web is going this way. However, there's also the risk, and to help with make a decision, what we have is what we call a zero risk guarantee. Speaking of insurance, is that if within 30 days and we counted from the launch on your website, you don't see the impact on key metrics such as time on site, conversion rates, and sales rates.
That's right.
Yeah, we can it's fully refundable. Or if you are working with using any other services from us, for example, SEO, pay-per-click, you can choose to transfer that investment into the other areas. So we want to make sure that it's always beneficial to work with Crawly. So have a look at wearecrawly.com. Another question is usually how long it takes to implement something like this. So the process usually takes about 2 weeks. There is a discovery phase, development phase, and the implementation phase, and ongoing optimization. I also mentioned that we are not charging per item, but as a service. So no matter how many of those we need to do, our goal is to make sure that your business grows. Not to say that the more elements, the better, but we do as many as we need. We usually start with one, most often on a free trial basis. So you can you can see how it looks like. From the technical side, everything from hosting to development is of course on us. And we've got a smooth process with our customers to embed those elements onto their website. And they are seamless experiences. The visitors don't notice that there's a different system they use, but they are happy with the answers they are getting and experiences that they get. So that's the most important for us.
Usually the clients that we work with have like full pipeline in terms of
Yes.
like development work, right? And we don't take space in that pipeline of work, IT work in your company, because we have our own pipeline and Ollie leads content manager that could embed our elements into the content, and that's it.
Yeah, and I think what's most important also to mention is that it works in tandem with all of the other marketing activities you might have. So if, for example, this SEO preparation that has been gathered all over the years, feeds into an interactive element which is on the website. And because we also can connect those interactive elements, so each step of the configurator we just saw counts as a conversion for example, your paid channels. So we maximize the SEO the business already has as generate more leads on top of it. So the website engagement goes up. And through that, also your paid marketing becomes more effective. So this is perpetual. And because
And
your
of
paid
course,
marketing,
SEO.
and that paid marketing drives a better performance on SEO because the website that convert better are higher up organically. So that was this missing. And because we are marketers, we've got over 80 people, different aspects of marketing at our availability. We can really put together an engine that works. I also have exciting product updates in the pipeline, but watch the space and we'll learn more in the next video. So cliffhanger ending, I guess.
Thanks a lot, Adam, and see you in the next one.
Take care, Rado. Have a wonderful day.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.